I'm a language mentor who teaches English, and my students learn English as their second language, and they always have this sentiment about their English, and that is they don't speak very well, that they don't sound as they would like to, and basically that they have a foreign accent. At the same time, I sometimes get students, yes, those people exist as well, who are actually embracing their national accents. So how do we reconcile those two conflicting perspectives? And how do we learn to embrace our accents while also navigating the challenges that come with them? So in this video, I want to give you an overview of how you can switch your mindset when it comes to thinking and speaking with a foreign accent in any language. And also, I want to give you some actionable points that you can start including into your everyday language practice to see how you can feel better about having a foreign accent, or how you can work towards polishing it off, not making it sound Polish. I know it's a lame thing, but as a person who is Polish, whenever I say the word polish, I cannot help myself and I cannot resist. So it's not about making your English accent, American accent sound Polish, but it's about polishing it off. Okay, here is the video. Why is it making me feel so silly, awkward, and happy at the same time? I'm a linguist, I have a diploma, I'm serious, I swear. I know my stuff. And as a person who grew up in a country where I wasn't speaking the language that I wanted to speak, I grew up in Poland and I really wanted to speak English on a daily basis. I know what it's like to navigate a sense of identity when you don't really feel like you belong to your language community, or you don't really feel like you sound the way you want to sound to be presented and perceived as an authentic version of yourself. Because when we have an accent, not only do we fear that people will make some false observations about us that are not true, because we are not our accent, we are human beings who happen to speak with an accent, we may also fear that we might be judged or that we might be rejected on the basis of our accent. And lastly, we fear we won't be understood. I'll actually read one of the messages I received at the end of my Accent and Speaking Challenge, which I run every single year, and it's a free 7-day program. At the very end, I asked people how they felt, if they felt that their English and their pronunciation and their accent skills were improving or not, and I got this message and I just wanted to share it with you. When I first started learning English, I was really self-conscious about my accent. I feel like people were judging me and that I wasn't good enough. But over time, I've learned to accept my accent as a part of who I am. I know that I'm never going to sound like a native speaker, but that doesn't mean I can't communicate effectively and enjoy the process of learning. Wow. That's such an important perspective to keep in mind. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of sounding perfect, but the reality is that most of us have a foreign accent, or an accent, a type of accent, when we speak English. Even native speakers don't have one accent, and that's okay. Like I said, for us linguists, this is a beautiful goldmine. But not only that, our accents can help us stand out, but that's the tricky part, because most of us don't want to stand out. Most of us want to blend in. We want to sound perfect, but if we can't sound perfect, at least we don't want to sound as bad as we think we do, or as bad that someone would reject us, because this is actually what it is about, having an accent and fearing rejection. And this is beautiful because having a foreign accent in English, for instance, shows that you, first of all, decided to learn a second language. It also links you to your national heritage and your roots, and it promotes language diversity, which for linguists, such as myself, is an enormous opportunity to dive deep into our linguistic and cultural differences across many different speakers of one language who happen to have different interferences from their native language. And mind you, foreign accents are not the same. There might be two Polish people who have had the same English learning experience and they speak with the Polish accent, but they won't sound the same. And that's beautiful. How are you liking my stares? in my apartment. Here is a disclaimer because I totally understand and realize that there is not just this beautiful aspect of embracing our accents that is, rainbows and sunshine and being able to accept everything that comes with it. No, because our accent can be linked to so many other things as well. Because accents are linked to other issues, broader issues, such as identity, power, and belonging. Also, depending on where you're from, your accent might be associated with some sense of superiority, but it can also be linked to a sense of inferiority, depending on the country that your accent comes from. And unfortunately, these perceptions have real-world consequences. On top of that, your accent might be just an emotional issue for you that can be hindering your growth and your progress. Think about it. When is the last time that you thought about your accent and your pronunciation when you were speaking English at work? And if English is your second language, you probably think about it a lot. And sometimes that might stop you from speaking up during a meeting or giving an answer in front of the whole class. Or maybe your boss wants someone to deliver a beautiful presentation in English and you just won't do it and you won't sign up for this job because you won't feel good about yourself. You won't feel good about your accent. That's when it becomes an emotional issue. It's no longer about how well you speak or what your accent is like or if you even have an accent. If something about your speech or your knowledge or your practice gives you a sense of inadequacy and being not good enough, then it's a real problem as well. And if you're curious about my whole story about how I developed an American accent in English, you can watch the video that pops up now. And before I share any of my tips and actionable steps, let me say something as a linguist, and I'm sorry about the echo in this part. I know you'll forgive me. As a linguist, as a mentor with 14 years of experience, I can tell you having an accent or not having an accent is not an issue. Because ultimately in life, here's a life lesson with Laura, nothing has meaning other than the meaning that you assign to it. Also, as a language mentor, I help people see their fears and uncover their insecurities and actually work with them, not against them, in order to become their best expressed self. And the number one thing that helps people make the most progress is positive thinking about their accent and their skills. Because here's the deal. Research has shown that having a positive attitude towards one's accent can help increase self-confidence, motivation, and language learning outcomes. When you view your accent as a part of your English speaking persona or even a part of your identity rather than a source of shame and insecurity, you will be able to take greater risks in your English learning journey, and you'll be able to speak up in professional situations, in everyday situations, because you won't have this nagging voice at the back of your head telling you that you can't speak up because of your accent. So when you improve your attitude towards your accent first, before you even change your accent, that can lead you to having more job opportunities because you will be applying for jobs that require you to speak English. This can lead to improved communication skills. This can lead to having more professional opportunities and overall a better performance when you speak English. Also, something that I've personally seen because I've experienced it is the moment I really made peace with the fact that sometimes my Polish accent might shine through. Sometimes I may not have the perfect American accent because let's be honest, I'm not an American, I'm Polish. When I fully embraced it, I think it was right at the beginning of my YouTube channel, I saw it as a chance to stand out positively as a Polish person speaking English, but also paradoxically that showed me that my accent, even if I don't really have it, but that is still a part of me because I won't ever stop being Polish, helped me nurture my cultural heritage within myself. Like, I still live in Poland. I now am surrounded by mostly Polish people, as always. I notice that I feel better when I live in Poland speaking English, when I don't reject my Polishness, when I don't reject the fact that I come from here, when I don't try to deny it, when I simply talk about my experience, not trying to hide anything about myself. And that's a huge accomplishment because going back to something that I said just at the very beginning, when I had my accent mixed, so it was like a mix of American and British accents, I was ashamed. I didn't feel like this was my identity, and that was okay at the time. And then something else hit me. I'm sure it will hit home for many of you, but you may not even realize who you inspire when you speak English unapologetically without having any insecurities about your accent. I am Polish, and I am a role model for Polish people and for any people who learn English as their second language, showing them that they can arrive at this point. If you're watching this and English is your second language, I hope that me talking about my experience can help you understand and see for yourself that it's possible to speak English without any hesitation, without any blocks or barriers, or without any nagging voice in your head telling you that you suck. I really hope that I can do that for you. But then, when you do it, when you speak English fearlessly, when you just speak now, I really need to go to Taylor's concert. When you speak English now and you're fearless about it, you'll see that other people who see you, who watch you, who follow you, who may not even tell you, like, ever that you inspired them to anything, and they may never tell you that thanks to you speaking regardless of how you sounded, you gave them the strength and the courage to actually speak English as well. This is a ripple effect. Me telling you this and you applying the steps that I'm gonna share with you in 5 seconds is truly gonna change not only your life, but the life of the people around you as well. Okay, so what are the steps that you can implement today? Number 1, practice, practice, practice. You cannot avoid it. If you want to be good at something, you need to practice doing that thing. So the more you practice, the more you will be working on your pronunciation and your accent skills. I know, but hey, you came for this video not only for advice. You came because you want to actually change something for the better about your English speaking journey, right? Okay, step 2, learn the rules of pronunciation. Learning about the rules of pronunciation for English, but also for other languages, will help you understand the speech better and recognize the patterns and speak better overall. Like, there is nothing you will lose if you study the correct pronunciation of a language that you want to learn in detail. You will only gain. So maybe learning about the correct pronunciation half an hour a week could be something that you could dedicate yourself to in order to actually see the progress that you desire. Step 3, focus on the sounds that matter most. Instead of trying to perfect every single sound of English or any other language that you're learning, focus on the sounds that are gonna help you improve your communication skills more, specifically for your job, for your school, or for the industry that you're in. Doing this targeted practice can help you become more efficient in your accent practice overall. Step 4, embrace your accent as a part of your national and cultural identity. Look, you are who you are, and you come where you come from. Instead of rejecting it, resisting it, fighting it. Oh, I don't want to sound Polish because X, Y, and Z. I don't want to sound German because ABC. Instead of doing that, embrace this. You will never change who you are actually. Like, you will never lose your identity. You can become a citizen of a different country, but your language doesn't work like that. Like, your subconscious was developing in another language. You cannot deny that or avoid that. So you might just embrace it. It's not easy, I know, but trust me, it's worth it. Step 5, focus on effective communication. Remember that the goal of language learning is communicating with others. Rather than worrying about sounding perfect, focus on conveying your message to the best of your abilities. Listen, even if you have an accent, if you're communicating effectively, you're already succeeding. Step 6, speak to yourself out loud. You could not watch any of my language learning videos when I speak about speaking, pronunciation, anything really, without me telling you to practice speaking to yourself out loud. So hey, what are you even doing here? I'm joking. I know that you haven't probably watched all of my videos, but if you did, you would notice that this is a piece of advice that I always do, because there's no limit to what you can talk to yourself about, what sounds you want to practice. There is nothing watching you, listening to you. If you just find a place and a time when nobody can distract you, nobody will disturb you, and you will actually have the safe space to practice speaking, to practice your pronunciation, trust me, it's gonna help you more than anything else on this list. Maybe not more than learning about the rules of correct pronunciation, but hey, you need to learn about it and then apply it. And this way, speaking to yourself out loud is the perfect way to apply all of your knowledge. Trust me. Watch any of my videos and you'll see why. Moving on. Step 7, be patient with yourself, sweetie. Rome wasn't built in a day. I know you know this. I know you've probably been learning English or any other language for years and years and years. And if you're here and you're watching this and you're still struggling with your accent, me telling you to be patient with yourself is probably like you want to click off this video because you don't want to be patient. You want to start right now. You want to change right now. You want to improve right now. You want to have this accent right now. You can have it right now. You can repeat after me if you want. We can focus on something right now. Do you think that this is gonna be effective and sustainable in the long run? Like, if you have something right now, it doesn't mean that you're able to maintain it. Speaking with an accent that you are learning and improving and developing and working on is not an overnight success. I have been learning English and speaking English as a foreign speaker of English since I was 3 years old. Thanks to my natural talents and my genetic predispositions, I have been able to become bilingual very, very, very early on, and I have a natural talent for languages. Also, I studied languages. I studied linguistics. So I should be perfectly equipped. I had classes with native speakers. I should be perfectly equipped to be speaking with an accent that is consistent and to have this accent that is maintainable. And I did. Do you want to know when it happened for me? I kind of told you at the very beginning of the video, when I finished my BA. So it was in 2017, so it was 6 years ago. That's when my accent truly became what it is. So between the ages of 3 and 22, I didn't have the perfect accent. I wasn't patient at all, but I knew that my accent was beautiful anyway. But I've been patient enough and I still talk to you. Someone please stop me. Bonus points for you if you identify all of these references from Taylor Swift's career in the comments. Like, I'm looking forward to your analysis. I was actually thinking of making more Swiftie related content. I don't know if you'd like that, but I am just obsessed with Taylor. So I actually don't know which point we're at because I got distracted. So the next piece of advice is to seek feedback from trusted sources. That could be a teacher, that could be a mentor, that could be your friend who speaks English a little bit better than you do, that could be your boss if you feel comfortable talking about this, if they speak English as well, that could be an English speaking friend, that could be anyone really. But seek feedback from the people who are kind and nice and who are gonna be able to tell you if you're off mark, but they will also be kind about it. The last 2 points are use resources to improve your accent and don't be afraid to ask for help. There are so many resources available to help you practice your accent, including my own American Accent Academy. If you want to check it out, the link is in the description. There are so many resources available, so use the power of the internet to educate yourself and to be able to work on your accent while having a structure of someone guiding you through it. And don't be afraid to ask for any help, be it from a teacher, a mentor, or anyone, or your favorite YouTuber who is a linguistics freak and has a course about it, but also references Taylor Swift in all of her videos starting today. Maybe this is the person that you want some advice from. I don't know. You can ask her. She's kind of cool. Some final thoughts. It's important to note that wanting to adopt a different accent or identity is perfectly okay, and there is nothing inherently wrong with it. However, it's important to approach it in a healthy way so that you don't end up hating yourself, hating your skills, or rejecting who you are. I know that sounds drastic, but if you hate your accent, what does it do to you actually? Is it good? You don't want that. That's why having a healthy approach to learning any language and either adopting a native sounding accent or not is so important because you don't want to be frustrated all the time or hateful, especially towards yourself. That's not the point of language learning. That's not the point of speaking another language. Also remember that having an accent does not equal not being able to communicate effectively. Me speaking to you right now in this video in English is my tool that helps me reach more people than if I were speaking Polish, because English is a global language. But if I decided to, in one moment, practice having a different accent, or I don't know, trying to imitate Jennifer Coolidge because she's so cool, that would not stand in the way of us not being mutually understandable, would it? It wouldn't. Also, you can adopt a kind of a hybrid personality, but I will leave it for the bilingual diary entries video because this topic is just so juicy and so good. And lastly, it's important to be authentic and not to lie to yourself. If you're watching this and your final thoughts are, okay, I'm gonna stick with my foreign accent because it's not actually that bad, amazing. If you're watching this and you're like, I still don't like my foreign sounding accent and I really want to develop an American accent when I speak English, or a Canadian accent or a Quebec accent when I speak French, like, this is valid. This is me. Like, I always wanted to speak with an American accent. I totally understand and get it. I just want you to be intentional and authentic about it. There's nothing wrong about desiring something, be it to speak with an accent or not. Just own it. And if you want to own it, take the inspired steps towards getting where you want to be. You can also check out any of my videos related to speaking other languages, speaking English, learning English. And if you want to learn with me in American Accent Academy, the link is also in the description box. Let me know in the comments what you think of anything that I said in this video, and also like this video to help me reach more people with this very important message about accents and identities. And also subscribe to my channel if you are new or if you haven't already. Most of my views come from people who are not subscribed, so you might want to subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!